It's time for Radio Blab with Master Mel, the radio video podcast brought to you live. Join host Melodee Meyer and her special guests as they discuss personal mastery and what it takes to create a life you want in a body you love, doing work that matters. Here's your host, Master Mel.
Wow, thank you and welcome to Radio Blab with Master Mel. And I'm excited today to bring to you a very, very special guest. Now, I love to support leaders and entrepreneurs who really want to experience the life that they want now. And one of the ways I do that is by talking with other leaders and experts who are masters at what they do. And we have one of those masters with us today. So if you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, or a network marketer, and you have a message, you may even have a product, but you may not know what you're known for, or are you being seen as the authority in your field? Well, today's business owner is in a dilemma, and Maurice DiMino will share how to elevate your authority using your $1 million message. So you are seen as the expert, the professional, the go-to person, because Maurice believes that how you are seen by the outside world will determine your success. So let's give it up for Maurice DiMino.
Hey. DiMino. Hey, no matter what, I'm still going to blab all over you. Hey, it's so good to be here, Master Mel, on Radio Blab. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me here and my $1 million message. And I see that people are already checking in over here. I love it. This is fantastic. Unbelievable. Look, as I was testing this before, talking to absolutely nobody, it's amazing that your $1 million message could be tweeted, could be posted, and now it could be blabbed, as well as joined on the Star. Hold on, I got to read this thing over here. Star Worldwide Networks. Exactly. Yes, there it is. So it's amazing what we could do today.
Yeah, I know. And you know what? What I love is broadcasting on many different platforms so that we can reach as many people as possible, because some people sort of tune into the one that's their favorite, and I like to sort of spread the love everywhere.
That's a good word. I love that word, repurposing. I think every entrepreneur, business owner should have that tattooed to the back of their wrists. So it's painful and they remember it. Don't ask me. All of a sudden, I just thought of a T. Harv Eker exercise like 20 years ago where he asked us to put a rubber band around our wrists. And every time we had a bad thought, we had to snap ourselves. So that's how yeah. So, I was, evidently the S&M type of learning technique works because I don't have any bad habits anymore.
I just pull out the boxing gloves. That's it.
Ooh. Yeah, that's right. I forgot. You're a black belt, right?
And I actually like to use all the things that I learned on the mat as a black belt and sort of translate them into life lessons off the mat.
Well, I always think of the black belt as the perfect embodiment of what we should do, because disagree with me. I know black belts like yourself. You still practice kata number 1. Right, because you, just in case when you're in the throes of things on the mat or out on the street, you want to be able to do the basics. And I know black belts still practice. Am I saying that right? Kata 1, in other words, the most basic routine you could do, because it is the basic throws that is the basics of the fundamentals that are going to make you successful as a black belt in business or in life. Is that right or wrong? Am I right about that? Is that a bad example?
Not every martial art does katas. So katas are a form, like a form. So they're like a sequence of different. So not every martial art has katas, but it is true that mastery is a person who is on purpose mastering the basics. A master does not mean someone who can do all the fancy tricky dicks. Not that they can't, but perhaps they can't. What they can do, however, is repeat the basics, and they do that, and I do that. And in fact, being called Master Mel is very humbling to me, because some people would think it's because I I have mastered, when actually for me, it's that I am mastering, meaning I am doing and practicing on a continual basis.
Well, then I'm going to continue using that analogy of the black belt, whether they use kata or not. But again, it goes back to, and I think that's the point of your show, the mastery of whether it's health, business, or wealth. What are those basics? What are those fundamentals that makes each and every one of us successful? You have yours, I have mine, and I think that's the exploration of
Yes,
what
and that's
Radio
what we're going
Blab
to
is
do
about.
today with you, Maurice.
Oh my gosh, I'm in the right place.
You know, I have learned so much from you personally. I've sat in where you've been the teacher, where you have been teaching other experts and entrepreneurs on how to fine tune their message, and I've found that everything that comes out of your mouth is like amazing. Like I've actually got pages and pages and pages of notes from sitting in on a session with you. And so I wanted to share that with my audience here. We've got not only a live audience on the radio and on Blab, but this is also on iTunes and Stitcher, and where people can actually listen, later or listen or on this again, just in case they didn't get all your points and they're not taking furious notes. Which, if you're here, I would suggest to get a notepad out, because Maurice DiMino is the man you want to talk to about your message. And we'll take questions at the end if we have time. But right now, Maurice, I'd love if you sort of gave a little background as to how you got into this line of work where you are helping people fine tune their message. How did this happen?
Well, I began at a very young age. I began speaking at about 1 year old. How far back do you want me to go? Give me some parameters here. No, I always like to share two aspects before becoming a professional speaker, as it were. In that I worked on Madison Avenue, so I did work with the big guys at Darcy, Macy's, Benton and Bowles, and some of our products were like Budweiser and whatnot. And one of the things I realized is that they do things. There's something's happening during that 30 seconds and that 60 seconds. When they had your attention. And what they did is they had to build this idea of TOMA, which is top of mind awareness. Now, for me, when I teach and all that, I talk about a top of mind attitude. In other words, that you should have an attitude of that every time you go out there, you make sure that you are making everyone aware of what you're about and what you stand for. So that's where I want to stress with people in that. I'm just trying to do something here. Sorry, three things at once. I want to make sure people understand that when they do have that message, there is certain things that we must do. And again, I learned this from the masters on Madison Avenue, which is that it comes down to the KLT. These are my new acronym for this year, for 2016. KLT. Do you know what the KLT stands for? I will tell you. The KLT stands for. Hey, if you don't mind, I'm in a goofy mood today because I'm looking outside of. I'm here in Bowling Green, Kentucky. I'm on a hot spot, so who knows if. Yeah, thank you for the love. Who's clapping my hands there? Who knows what's going to happen? Because I know I'm coming across like Max Headroom here for those people that are baby boomers. KLT stands for Know, Like, and Trust. And it's real easy for a business owner, a master, an entrepreneur, network marketer, a mom, a dad, I believe, to do the know and the liking. It is the trusting, though, that is the difficult part. And the reason being is that before someone not only opens their mind, opens their hearts to you, we want them to open possibly their wallets. And before they do any of those three, they have to trust you. And that comes when, hey, Debbie, thank you for joining us. That comes, I'm sorry, I just did that. That comes from that top of mind awareness. Before I could trust you, I got to know that you're going to be here tomorrow. And in essence, in short, I'll give it a brief. We all know Coca-Cola, but yet they advertise everywhere. Well, because again, they want to be the trusted brand when you're thirsty. And it comes down to that. So look what you're doing here, Master Mel. You're having this broadcast. It's on a blog. It's on Star Worldwide Networks. It's on a blab. It's going to be on iTunes. So what you're doing is you right here, right now. Here's a perfect example, and everybody follow suit. Make sure you subscribe. Because she does this every Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. And what she's doing, she's practicing the KLT, more that the trust. In other words, when it comes to her piece of information, she wants to be seen as the expert. And I have to hand it to you because when I did a little investigation on you, I noted you had so many shows. And again, you're practicing what you're preaching here about being that master. So really, I've come here to share that beneath that KLT, that know, like, and trust. What is that message? What's that message written in your hearts that the world is waiting to hear? And I affectionately call that your $1 million message.
So your
I believe
background
each and
is
every one of us
actually
has
in
one.
branding and in marketing. Is that right?
Well, my background, I'm going to say, well, way back, let's say like the ground roots, the building blocks is in advertising and marketing. And then after that, it was in high-end sales. I mean, I sold products that had a price tag of anywhere from $10,000 up to $250,000. And for those of you that know me, you know that I'm talking about the nonlinear editing equipment. I mean, this product, you had to demonstrate it, and there's that messaging, there's that presenting. That's how you're being seen is going to determine whether they're going to make the sale or not. And that really taught me a lot in that when we're in front of people one-on-one on Blab, on iTunes as a podcast, how are we coming? How is our message coming across? How are we being understood by our audience? And trust me, this could be an audience of one, or it could be an audience of 1,000. In that we have to make sure that we have a message that's clear, that it's concise, and I like to add a final C to that. This is my C. And that there's a call to action, because I want all of our listeners to go out there and to be duly rewarded for all this hard work that they put into their entrepreneurial spirit.
So I like that your background is in sales, because one thing I've noticed about a lot of so-called experts out there is that they've got a lot of great ideas and theories, but when it comes to taking action and actually closing the deal, that's actually where things get a little separated sometimes. And so what I've noticed.
Yeah, what I was going to say was that the close. I mean, you said the most important thing. Sorry to cut you off, because it makes my mind reel. Because a lot of people, for some reason, they can close for other people if they have that job or whatever, the 9 to 5, 9 to 4, whatever it is. 9 to 6. I wish it was 9 to 4. They could close easily for other people, but being a business owner, being self-employed, being an entrepreneur, for some reason, I don't know what it is, why people have that hard time closing the deal, getting the signature, having that client open their wallet. I don't know why people make it so difficult. It's funny. You may mention that. First thing that popped into my mind is a research that was done by Allstate Insurance. Now, look, I study this stuff. Allstate Insurance did an investigation, and they looked at 100 salesmen of Chicago, and they realized that only 2 out of the 100 actually asked for the sale. And that just totally blows my mind, because if that's somebody working for somebody, and we always have to fill in that number of how many sales we did. Imagine the person that's working for themselves. No one's asking them, how many sales did you close today? So it makes it very interesting for those people out there that they want to master this thing known as entrepreneurship,
well, the thing that
whether
I
they're
found
closing
the
the sale or not.
The entrepreneurs that I coach is that if they are selling for somebody else, they have no problem, just like you said. But because they are selling themselves and they're working on their own personal brand, they have a harder time with it. And they have a harder time sort of articulating what it is that they really want to communicate, because it's so personal. So they take things personally. So if somebody rejects them, they take it personally. So they don't ask for the sale as often, because they're asking to be rejected, because they're taking it on a personal level. rather than it just being like a product, either you want it or you don't, that's separate from them. They take it as part of them. And so a lot of the work I do with them is trying to separate that idea that this isn't a personal thing, that when you're sharing your message, you will attract the people who need that, not necessarily, it's not going to appeal to everyone. Would you say that's correct?
Yeah, no, I agree, and I would like to share how I got over that. But I'm just curious, when you coach your people, what's your style? What's your method, or what's your system, so that they can go past that personal block and ask for the sale? You just said that, and I have an idea. Maybe it may sound a little vulgar, but I have an idea when it comes to that. But before I say mine, I want to hear yours. Yours is probably much cleaner than mine.
I want to hear that.
All right, mine is this. Back in the day when I was in sales, yeah, I had that. Even for somebody else, or even for myself, I had that apprehension. I had that self-doubt. I had that lack of confidence because you're right that they're rejecting me. Hey, do you want this Avid? No. Oh my gosh, I'm a bad person. Hey, you want to join my master class? No. Oh, I must be a bad person. Finally, what I resigned myself to the fact is this: screw it. Just ask for the sale. I'm sorry. That's my. Hey, I promised my Facebook fan club there that this was gonna be no holds barred session, and I promised that. I say screw it. You just got to ask for the sale. I mean, that's how it. And I wish I had a better, more scientific explanation, but that's how I got over it. And I think if you really boil it down, there is something there. And what I mean by screw it, in other words, don't take it personally. Every time I asked for a sale, I knew this. I was getting closer to a yes. So that's the magic of it. It's really getting out of our own way because we are our own worst critic. And I always love this saying, Master Mel, that if we actually believed what others believe about us, we personally would be unstoppable. It's truly, if we could really how people view us and like, hey, you're great, you're fantastic. And if we believe that, oh my word. So it just comes down to screw it.
We only believe the
like
negative things.
Just go for it.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, why is that? We're one messed up species. It's amazing. It's, you look at all these other animals, they're just doing it. And they're just going to say, hey, I'm going to fly south for the winter. I have no idea where I'm going. And not only that, a big conversation that Heidi and I are having right now is, why can birds land on high voltage wires? But that's a whole nother topic. But yeah, birds say screw it. I'm gonna land on high voltage wires, and they do it.
Wow.
So you just got to go for it. I'm sure everybody all these faces across the top here, they were looking for some deep philosophical answer. Yeah. And all they're getting is two words.
Well, I like that. And actually, that's going to be playing in my head from now on. Thank you. Yeah, well, what I do is a much more complicated process, but I think I'm going to start adopting
that. Well, yeah, I try to go to the root thing of it. But if I may, so that there's a learning piece here. There is something to be said about that, and that what that is that yes, I am not listening. When I say screw it, I'm not listening to those voices in my head, in particular the negative ones, because they will take it out. Master Mel, we so desperately want success, but yet the biggest obstacle to get in our own way is ourselves. So we do have to kind of sidestep ourselves. I wanted to bring up two things. Well, actually, one thing I'm watching, and I highly recommend, and in fact, I got to give credit where credit is due. My good friend, my business partner, and somebody that everyone should definitely check out, Casey Eberhardt. Casey Eberhardt told me like 10 times, you got to watch I Am Not Your Guru on Netflix about Tony Robbins. And it was interesting what he was saying there in that, he's saying he's not his guru. In other words, we actually have all the answers inside of us, just that we got to let all that dirt that covers us up, that self-doubt, to let it come through. So, if you haven't seen it yet, ladies and gentlemen, definitely check it out. It's on Netflix. I Am Not Your Guru, Tony Robbins documentary.
Thank you for that reminder.
So
That's
definitely
awesome.
check that out.
So you're getting lots of love, as you can see there in the chat area. People are saying hi, and that's love.
Oh, good. Are they clapping their hands on the bottom with this blab thing? I don't know. Here, let me give you some love here.
So what I want to do
is that
in
how props?
today's episode here, Maurice, is to really give our listeners an opportunity to apply some of the things that you teach in your big talks and in your seminars about how to fine-tune your message and really turn it into $1 million message. I personally believe that, and I know you believe this as well, that everyone has a message. Everyone has something to share, and that we all can learn from one another. And the better you are at being able to articulate that and get it out there in a clean, concise, and direct way, the more opportunities you'll have to affect more people. And so I was really hoping you would share some of your top tips, maybe even some secrets today.
Sure. I think the biggest thing is that idea of clarity. You said it's something very interesting, and let's pick up on it. In that now we have our product, our service, and we're so close to it that we kind of talk in hieroglyphs. In other words, we're talking in short messages and short bursts because we understand what we're saying. But the prospect has no idea. In fact, if this is a new product or service that you're introducing or what have you, for example, you have Debbie Bloom on this phone call with her product of Nerium. If she's not crystal clear exactly of what she's all about and what they're doing, her and Rick, then it's going to fall to the wayside. So what I would suggest people to do is, and this is something I learned on Madison Avenue, we use this thing called the log line. And I'm sure when you were training with me, you heard me talk about this, in that if I could really stress this to all the people out there, try to distill your message down to one sentence. Now, I know that sounds hard because you got to talk about all these different things. But again, coming from the world of Madison Avenue, we lived in a world of 30 seconds and 60 seconds. So we had to get to our message quite quickly, clearly, and concisely. And not only that, make sure you KLT'd, that you top of mind aware. I mean, so many things were going on. And I think the reason we were successful with that on Madison Avenue, and this is the takeaway, is because whatever product it is, we boiled it down to one sentence. What exactly do we want our audience, our listeners, the receiver of this message to walk away with right here and right now? So I challenge all of our listeners, whether you're listening to us live or whether you're listening to the replay here of Blab Radio with Master Mel, I'm going to say put pen to paper. Definitely, there's something about that kinetic connection between you and your message, and just start writing down ideas of what do you do, what do you offer, what are people going to walk away with. And yeah, sure, maybe it takes a paragraph to write it out, but I'm still going to ask you to distill it down until it becomes one sentence. I can give an example. Yes?
So we want to come up with a log line, is what you're saying.
Correct.
Something that precisely says what it is, who we are, and what it is that we do. Is that correct? What are the questions we're answering with that log line?
In fact, the question you're asking yourself and what you're getting on paper is, what is the message? What is the idea you want your audience, the listener, the receiver, to walk away with? So just to be clear, this is not a slogan. This is not a title. This is not a subtitle. This is a total separate entity unto itself. Because some of our log lines that we used on Madison Avenue never saw the light of day, never made airtime on radio or TV, print, or billboards. But we were crystal clear that we wanted to, make your whites whiter, minty breath. I mean, sometimes it just came down to that. What exactly? And that's all we just concentrate on that, so that once we had the log line, then to develop the script, what we're going to say, what we're going to promote, we're going to market or publicize, it was all based on that. So we're clear, we're concise, we're right to the point, so that no matter who looked at our ad or listened to it, they walked away with that message.
So let me get this right. Your log line is not your tagline or your subtitle or your catchy phrase that you're known for, like, but it is where you come from, where all your messaging comes from. Would that be correct?
Master Mel, yeah, you're hitting the nail on the head here. Again, thank you for the clarification, because I know some people want to be cute and jingly and rhymey and all that. So it's not a tagline, it's not a subtitle, it's not your jingle, as it were. Just think of it as this is for you. All right, you create this log line for yourself, so that, for example, when I first started, my log line was, imagine creating a message that's clear, concise, and has a call to action. Now, you probably never heard me say that out loud, but I would put that in front of me so that when I wrote a script, when I was interviewed, when I went to do a flyer, when I went to do a blog post, I put that log line in front of me, and I just had it there so it would act as a filter, so that anything that came out of my head onto the keyboard, out of my pen, or whatever it may be, it had a through line. It had a consistent through line of what that message is. So no matter what my receivers were seeing or listening to, they understood, oh, I could develop a clear message with Maurice. And that's the message I want them to walk away with.
Wow. Okay. So how would you feel about working with me on my log line, just as an example to help
Sure.
with there?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so something that that I communicate on my website, mastermel.com, is I say that I'm really into helping, it says, learn to create the life you want in a body you love, doing work that matters. Because I work a lot with people with their body and their body image, but it all relates to their work, and they want to do work. And because I do work with a lot of entrepreneurs that are neglecting their bodies, essentially. They're doing work that matters so much that they're neglecting their own self so that they can create what they want.
So if I understand, there's keywords. There's life, body. What are those keywords? Life, body.
And a body you love, doing work that matters. So I look at that. I go,
well, the thing that, yeah, I'm sorry, my mind works in mysterious ways. For the third thing that came to my mind, again, this is just for you. Yeah. Life, body, work matters. Right. That's what those are the three things that you want us to walk away with. Isn't it have a life with the body, with the work that you love, something like that?
Yeah. Yeah. A life.
So again, it took us weeks to figure this out. So we're trying to capture lightning in a bottle here, which is possible. But again, remember the through line, that message you want to get across to people is that, their life, their body, and their work matters. So again, this would be a log line that you would put out to yourself. Sorry, I'm not looking at the camera, but I got to look all over the place. You would write it out, put that in front of you, so that when you do your shows, that you're conveying that your body matters, that your life matters, that your wealth matters, or your work matters. So now you have that consistent message throughout. And people will walk away with, oh, I get it. I need to have those three things in alignment to have a well-rounded life. And there's another word, alignment. Those three things in alignment. All right. Again, working with you. I hope you don't mind. Hey, you're seeing that this is the first time I've ever done this live. So it looks like this guy, it looks like he got caught in a box here. I'm just trying to get caught in my box here. So there you go. How about that? What do you think of that?
That's awesome. Actually, that gave me a little insight there that was really, really helpful. That sort of, because some people could see that as so many different things instead of it being essentially that we matter.
Yeah, a lot of people think this it's got to be poetry, this log line. No, sometimes it's down and dirty and as simple as that. And Master Mel, you may never say that or promote it or put it on a flyer or anything like that. But again, this is, just to be clear for our listeners, this is for her to use that when she goes out to speak, when she goes out to promote, when she goes out to network or market, she uses that. The best thing I could say is she used that as a filter so that she's consistent. She's consistent with her message. Why? To develop that top of mind awareness. So when somebody says, you know what, I got to get in alignment with my life. Oh, wait a minute. That's Master Mel. And that's the idea.
Cool. Well, Maurice, we're going to take a little break for just a minute.
Okay.
And when we come back, I would really like to go over how you use this log line and this in your message when you're speaking. Because I know you do a lot of speaking. You also do a lot of seminars and things like that. So I'd like to talk, and I know many of the entrepreneurs I work with also do speaking and also have events. And so let's get into that a little bit after this break, okay? So really important question, Maurice. What'd you have for breakfast this morning?
I usually do a meal replacement shake. For some reason, solid food in the morning. Not that it doesn't agree with me. I'm just so used to that. But I had a lovely lunch with Heidi Lee. I'm visiting her right now in Kentucky. That rhymes a little. So we had a lovely lunch, and then right after the show, I'm going to go pick her up, and we're going to have dinner together.
Aw. I know you guys are always doing these really inspirational dates. I want to learn how to do those, like the GPS things. I have no idea what you're talking about every time you say you're having.
It's called Our GPS Adventure.
Yes.
And I'll explain it to you maybe on another show.
Yeah, that would be great. All right, so I wanted to talk about being a professional speaker. You've been doing this for a long time, and every time you get up, I don't know if it's because you have a radio voice or if it's because you have excellent posture or because you start off with a bang, you always grab everyone's attention. As soon as you start talking, everyone stops talking and pays attention to what you're saying. How is it that you do that? What's your tricks?
That's a very good question. Thank you, Master Mel. And thank you for noticing. It comes. I always look at this that I'm really proving that I'm a professional speaker here with all these tics. It's interesting in that I do believe that public speaking, what I do, and anybody could do this, because it is a skill that I have practiced. If somebody handed me a basketball, a shot put, a javelin. Or what are you doing? Dear Lord, you just caught my attention. And for those of you listening on the radio, for shame, you should be watching this live on Blab. Dear Lord, Master Mel, I love you. I love Heidi more, but all right. So so how do I do it? Well, it's I'm going to say this. I'm prepared. You speak to any professional speaker, and they have everything scripted. Now, it seems real and live to the audience, but it's all scripted. It reminds me of a story once, if I may share real quickly, about the stage manager who took over for Sammy Davis Jr. Okay, so it's an older story, but it's well worth saying. It's a stage manager that took over the live show of Sammy Davis Jr. in Las Vegas, right at the Sands. So it was his first day on the job, and it's going great. Sammy's singing. He's talking to the audience. And the stage manager turns his back for a moment from the stage, and all of a sudden he hears Sammy Davis Jr. go, stop, 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 stop. He's like, stops the orchestra. And he goes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so sorry for this mistake. Da, da, da. And he talks, and then he says something, and the whole audience bursts out laughing. And then he brings the band back up, the big orchestra brings the band back up, and everything goes. So now the stage manager is freaking out. They're like, oh my God, there was a huge mistake. Sammy Davis Jr. had to stop the show. I'm going to lose my job. So he thanked everybody and all that. He kind of went home. He went back to work expecting a pink slip, didn't get it. So Sammy says, hey, we're going to have a great show. They start the show. And then sure enough, in the same exact place, Sammy Davis Jr. goes, whoa, wait, there's a mistake here. He did the same exact joke because he's a professional, right? He has it all prepared. He knows, just like you're saying, he knows how to grab the audience's attention, and he realizes that where he is in that show, he's got to re-engage the audience. While you're asking me about the beginning of the show, I know this, the hardest thing, I believe this, sorry. not the hardest thing. I believe that one of the most important things we could do as a public speaker, and here's a takeaway for our listeners, is in the first few moments, in the first 3 minutes of our presentation. We have to, as I say, we have to cast as big a net as possible. So you better believe it. There's certain things that I am doing on the stage to capture that. Yes, I am modulating my voice. And again, this is a voice that I've practiced, not that much as other people may have practiced, but I make sure that I kind of drop it down into my diaphragm. So it's a kind of a deeper, richer voice that really commands it. If I'm using a microphone like I am today, like I'm doing today, I take advantage of the microphone, that type of thing. And the biggest thing that I do is I pause before I speak. And that's the biggest thing that I do. In other words, I'm telling the audience with my body language, with my silence that, hey, now it's my turn. Now it's your turn to listen to me because I'm about to share some very vital information for you. And then my first words are not the customary, hello, my name is. And my big thing is that I want to get people away from hello, my name is to that engagement sentence, as it were. And that's what I want people to do. There's certain ways, and this is what they learn in my template, my $1 million presentation template. There's certain things that you can do to do that attention getter. So that's what I'm doing. I'm using the template that I've created, and I'm engaging people in the first few moments because I know this. If I don't get the entire audience at the very beginning, then I'm going to have the fewest amount. And now here's key. I'm going to have the fewest amount of people at the finish line when I do go into the close. So I want as big of an audience as possible during my presentation so that when I call it, when I get to the finish line, when I go into my close, right, I want it as big of an audience as possible. And if I haven't done that at the very, very beginning, no wonder some people's sales are very small. So that's what my $1 million presentation template does. It allows people to capture as much of the audience as possible, keep them engaged throughout with trial closes, NLP. It's all built in so that you don't have to worry about it. You just use your words, follow my template. You bring them to the close. It's clear, concise. Your call to action is in place, and then you're starting to make money with with your presentation. And that's what I want.
Right.
Want people
so
to
not
do.
everyone, when
I want
they're
people to be duly rewarded
not
for all their
everyone when
hard
they're
work.
speaking are actually selling something at the end necessarily, but we are sort of selling ourselves, right? We're selling our confidence and we're selling ourselves as experts or whatever.
Exactly. So I mean, I hate to disagree with my lovely host that's taking off her clothes, but I want to. But we are, because even if we're there just to say, hey, I'm glad that you're here. Well, you got to convince them that you're glad that you're here. So you're selling that idea that I'm glad that you're here. So as what I realize is certain, not that you have to do exact things like the speaker triangle and holding your hands and all that in a certain speaker way, but there's certain speaking etiquette that we got to do. In other words, we got to be of service to the audience. And that's, for me, that was my biggest learning piece, was to be of service to my audience. I am not there to be self-serving. Don't worry about me. Again, who cares what I look like and all that self-doubt thing that we talked about at the very beginning of the show. It's not about the script. It's not about the words I'm about to say to you. Who cares? It's about that genuine connection between me and the audience, about the genuine connection between you and your audience. And that's the biggest lesson I learned in my 10 years of doing this.
So what would you say to those entrepreneurs or people who want to be entrepreneurs that don't really know what their message is or haven't got it down to a concise log line? They just know they really want to make a difference and they love being with people and they want to be of service, but they're not quite sure how to get started with that or if they've even got anything worth sharing. What do you say to them?
Right. Well, if I may, I'm going to share the advice that I got when I was looking for my brand, my message. I went to Cheryl Rouse, one of the top Toastmasters and speakers here in the United States and abroad. And I said, Cheryl, what's my brand? I can't believe I actually had the nerve to ask somebody, hey, what's my brand? And I'll never forget what she said. She says this, Maurice, sometimes you find your brand or your brand finds you. Now, for me, I'm a journey person. In other words, my best advice is that I went out and did it. My gosh, I can't tell you how many business cards with all these different products and services that I first began with that I have in my file of facts here. But I'm going to say to the entrepreneurs, the solopreneurs listening, is to go out there and just give it a try. The best advice I could give you is put it up on its feet. And sometimes putting up on its feet could be saying, hey, do you have a moment, a good friend of mine? Let me buy a cup of coffee and let me share this idea with you. To really get it out there. And that's what I did. I slowly put it out there, so much so that I believe that there's certain things that we can do to elevate our authority. And that's my whole new thing now with the $1 Million Message, is that any entrepreneur, any business person can join the ranks of the heavy hitters if they take advantage of the various, I call it the 6 elements of authority. And to go out there and to really use your $1 Million Message in these 6 elements, so that you are seen as the expert, the go-to person, the professional, so that when it comes to top-of-mind awareness, they're going to.
Okay, well, you know what you just did? You told us about something, now you got to finish it. What are the 6 elements of authority?
Well, based upon my research, and now I've been researching this thing now because of my sales background, for these so many years. And in my 36 years of research, it really comes, for me, it comes down to, and I'm sure this could be a lively conversation with anyone out there, but the 6 elements of authority, I believe, where you could entrust, where you could place your $1 Million Message is the following. Number 1 is to be an author. Number 2 is to be a speaker. Number 3 is webinars. 4 is podcasting. 5 is YouTube. And number 6 is kind of like the glue that puts it all together, which is social media. And what I've done in my research, and not only have I done it, but countless top professionals, Tony Robbins, T. Harv Eker, Jack Canfield, you name it, Marianne Williamson, all these people have used these 6 elements, maybe not all of them, but they've utilized these 6 elements using their $1 Million Message. Why? To be seen as the expert in their topic everywhere. And again, what does that generate? Top of mind awareness, as well as the KLT, know, like, and trust. So that's what if I could share anything, really got to build that you got to really elevate your authority.
You kind of cut in and out. I didn't catch all of them. I got number 1, author. Number 2, speaker. What was number 3? Okay.
Number 3 is webinars.
Mm-hmm.
Podcasting.
Yeah.
YouTube. And then the kind of the glue that holds it all together, okay. Number 6 is social media.
So that's awesome. So I know many people who are working at least a couple of those simultaneously, and it is something that can be done. And don't you find that sometimes when you look at a list like this, it's like, oh my gosh, I got to write a book, and I got to start a podcast, and I got to, it's like starting with one and then getting good at that and then layering on another. Yes.
Well, I look at it this way again. I'm a big believer in systems. I'm a big believer in templates, and like, I got to do all this heavy lifting. Well, in my program, I've taken my $1 Million template, and I've kind of skewed it so that, hey, here's an ebook writing template so that you can write an ebook in in a week. Then my $1 Million presentation template, you could literally be sitting in an audience and say, hey, it's your turn to talk. You can use that template and talk right on the spot. Right on down all 6, so that what the template has done is done all the heavy lifting for you, so that, again, you want to create that consistent message. For example, podcasting. I know this one individual that you think, you got a podcast every day. Well, they do a podcast twice a month, and they have 100,000 subscribers. In other words, dedicated listeners. And again, it's that idea of that consistency of message. In other words, they show up every 2nd and 4th Tuesday of the month, come hell or high water, with their $1 Million Message. They found their audience because the internet, the World Wide Web, allows us to open up our doors to the world. And they have 100,000 dedicated listeners every time he posts a show. Now, is that a lot to do twice a month? I don't think so. So again, if there's a method, I'm going to suggest to all of our entrepreneurs, if there's a method out there, if somebody has a method or a system to use that really makes things this so much easier. Go out and get it.
Well, I think that's actually what is so great about working together and creating relationships. I know we met in a mastermind, and like meeting other people that have similar interests and are kind of going on the same path together, and you can all lock arms and be a lot stronger, and you have more resources when you're working together. It's not competitive, it's cooperative. And I know I've got my templates for things, and you've got templates for things, and we have other people who are, you know, experts in, let's say someone is an expert in LinkedIn or expert in social media. It's so much better to sort of work with each other and help each other as we all are trying to do the same thing, which is get our message out to as many people as possible.
That is for sure. Right now, I'm reading Napoleon Hill's 16-volume set, "The Laws of Success," which Think and Grow Rich is based upon. And it's amazing how, you know, he's probably the person that started all about the idea of the mastermind. So yeah, I definitely agree with you. You know, birds of a feather flock together, and if you can't find a flock, go fly someplace else. I have no idea what that was. So I have no idea. So you're making me do this. It's unbelievable. So no, definitely you got to surround yourself with like-minded people. So definitely fly to, you know, I'd rather fly with the eagles and soar high than scratch with the chickens.
So I see you have an event coming up online, Elevate Your Authority. Are you going over these 6 elements of authority there? What is it, a webinar you're doing?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a live webinar. I'll be there live on Wednesday, August 17th at 6 p.m. And if people go to elevateyourauthority.com,
I'll put it in.
we'll put the link over here. If you go to elevateyourauthority.com, what you could do is this: sign up, and it's free. It's usually a $47 value. But as my way of saying, hey, I want everybody to elevate their authority, definitely go to elevateyourauthority.com. Oh, thank you. Look at you. You did it for me. Thank you so much. So that is fantastic.
You're also giving away your latest bestseller, you little overachiever. The 70 quotes of people.
Well, for me.
What's that?
Yeah, because 2016, I'm calling it the year of the give. I'm just giving things away. So I got a free webinar at elevateyourauthority.com. And for everyone that's listening in earshot of Master Mel and yours truly, if you go to yourmilliondollarmessagenow.com, that's yourmilliondollarmessagenow.com, you will get a free copy of my ebook, a #1 bestseller. This, as Master Mel said, the 70 quotes of highly effective people. And the reason I share this with you is because, again, following my template, I wrote that book in 3 hours. I published it in an hour, so it took me a grand total of 4 hours to get the book up. And then 24 hours later, I was an Amazon #1 bestseller. And that's one of the things, as one of the elements of authority, to become an author. And there, I did it in 28 hours.
I was there when you did that. I wanted to punch you. That was
Thank you. Go ahead.
You know, do you remember in junior high school when you saw somebody do something you want to do and you go, "That's just stupid."
Yeah, for me, I finally realized that when a girl did that, when they punched me and they said you're an idiot, that meant they liked me.
And that's what I want to tell you.
Unfortunately, I figured that out when I was 26 years old. If I would have known that back in grammar school, I would have been a much happier kid. But anyway, that's a whole different. That's another blab. Sex blab with Dr. DiMino. I should start a blab show like that.
Oh my God.
What I learned in grammar school too late.
Thank you for those gifts of the webinar, the free webinar, and that book, online book. Thank you so much. That's awesome. I hope that people will take advantage of that and look into what is that your website now? Your milliondollarmessagenow.com. Is that where they can find you, or is that more?
Yeah, well, if they go to either of those are pages within my website. So yes, Once they go there, they sign up, go ahead and sign up, and then just hit the home button and they'll be on my
good.
home
Okay, that's a great
page.
idea. So then they can check out more about you and learn how to make their message worth $1 million. And so I want to thank you for the things that I've learned from
That's
you.
right.
What is there anything else you want to give as some parting advice to entrepreneurs and wantrepreneurs who are really wanting to fine tune their message?
Well, I think the biggest thing is I'd like people to believe in themselves, to really understand that yes, your message counts. That you ask me, but people are not sure what their message is. That's bullshit. Sorry, I'm going to say it. That's bullshit. Everybody, you have that message written in your hearts. You just let society and whatever get in the way. And I'm going to say this: yes, you do have that $1 million message written in your hearts that the world is waiting to hear. And I expect you to go out there and share the message. Why? Because there's that one person. I don't care if it's just one person in this world wide web that we belong to. There's this one person that must hear your message. So please do not hold back and share your message.
That people don't even know that what their message is, because to them it's so ordinary. Like, to them it's not necessarily a big aha. They've always known it, or they've mastered it to the point that it's just ordinary to them. And I know a lot of times when I share certain things, people go, oh my gosh, like that changed my life. And I'm like, that did? Like, doesn't everybody know that? Or, you know what I mean? It's like, sometimes we have to just know that some of the things we talk about over and over that we're passionate about are things that other people have never even considered before. And that could be your message.
You hit on something right there. When it's ordinary to you and people are totally blown away, I believe that's the universe talking to you and whispering in your ear that may be your message, because it's ordinary. It comes easy. I tell people, if it comes easy to you and everybody else is flabbergasted and knocked off their toes, well, guess what? There may be a clue in there somewhere for you, because that's your natural talent, your natural abilities coming out. And fine tune that. Don't hold back and like, oh no, I'm not that good at it. Well, there, you just put some more dirt on top of it, some more BS on top of it. So yes, that is a beautiful clue. Thank you, Master Mel, for saying that, and I hope everybody was listening to that.
Yeah. So, what else are you going to be doing on your event on August the 17th with this whole idea of authorities? You're going to be going over the 6 elements in more detail on how to.
I'm going to go into detail. I'm going to go into detail the 6 elements. I'm going to share what it means, what it stands for, and really why. A lot of people are like, why podcasting? Well, I know YouTube, and I'm going to definitely cover the what's and the why. A bit more importantly, the whys. Why is this an element? And you're going to see that during this webinar, how it's going to be of service to people that listen to it and adhere to it, how it's going to change their business. And for those of you that have their own business, it'll take you, let me tell you, to the next level, because you understand why all this internet-y stuff is so important. And I'll show you exactly how to do that.
What is your why, Maurice? Why are you doing this? Why are you helping people the way?
It's funny. Thank you for that. I'm sorry to cut you off, because that's listen, watching I'm Not Your Guru. For some reason, in my heart, I want people to enjoy life. Don't ask me why. It's just I'm just bent out of shape that people got to enjoy their life. They got to share what they're about. And I love and I get to enjoy sharing what I want, even here in the bluegrass of Kentucky and to the dust storms of Dubai, the United Arab Emirates. I mean, I travel all over the world. So that's my big why. What's your why, Master Mel? I actually was thinking about this before just a moment ago. We must have read each other's mind. Why do you do this, dear Lord?
Yeah. Well, I've had a lot of very painful experiences, of which I would have preferred to have avoided. And I just feel really compelled to help other people that either have experienced those similar things, and sort of shortcut and get to the life that they want now. I always believed in the past, I believed that someday I could have whatever I wanted. I believe that was a someday thing. And when I realized that didn't come for a lot of people because they were also waiting for someday, I decided to shortcut it and to have the life that I wanted now. And then I wanted to help other people do that as well.
Well, that's beautiful. And you're definitely doing it, Master Mel. And I want to thank you for you sharing your message with the world. So thank you so much for Radio Blab and all that you do.
And you have been a part of that, and I appreciate it so much. Being in and listening to you and learning from you has helped me define what it is that I'm truly meant to do with my life, and I appreciate it so much.
Oh, thank you for those kind words. It's been a pleasure. I as you could tell, I had fun today. So thank you for letting me let go of my wild side. I'm blabbing.
Wild guy. You are a wild guy. So thank you so much, Maurice.
My pleasure.
Make sure, everybody, that you've got those websites that we shared with you, elevateyourauthority.com and yourmilliondollarmessagenow.com if you'd like to check out a free webinar and a free book from Maurice DiMino, who is the messenger of the $1 Million Message. Thank you so much. And we'll talk to you next time on Radio Blab with Master Mel. R-E-S-P-E-C-T, find out what it means to me.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Thanks for listening to Radio Blab with Master Mel. Live each week, Melodee Meyer empowers you to become a black belt in your business and life every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern or anytime 24/7 on RadiostarWorldwide.com.